The Italian anti-mafia and anti-terrorism prosecutor met with the Interior Minister Fatmir Jafaj and acting Chief Prosecutor for Albania, Arta Marku, to raise the alarm that Albanian criminal groups are highly present in Italy. The Interior Minister has issued a strong message to the political forces in the country, declaring that no one with connections to crime can escape punishment as a result of the vetting process. President Ilir Meta confirmed to the EC President on his visit to Tirana that all political forces in the country share the same desire for the opening of negotiations for entry into the EU. Good evening, it's 6 o'clock on Monday the 26th of February 2018. Welcome to the English edition of Aura News. My name is Alexandra and I'm here to bring you the day's top stories from across the country translated into English. The Italian anti-mafia and anti-terrorism prosecutor has touched down in Tirana on a visit aimed to strengthen the alliance in fighting against organised crime and drug trafficking. After meeting with Interior Minister Fatmir Jafaj this morning, the Italian prosecutor was then hosted by Albania's acting Chief Prosecutor Arta Marku. The anti-mafia prosecutor noted that criminality in Albania is highly evident and present throughout Italy. He confirmed Italian authorities are ready to cooperate with anyone who has declared war on this criminality. We talked about the ongoing investigations. We have evidenced that Albanian criminality is very present in Italy. They are collaborating with a number of Italian mafia groups in Italy. Albanian criminal groups are involved in trafficking of marijuana and other light drugs, weapons, but ultimately are heavily interested in cocaine trafficking. There are a significant number of active investigations currently ongoing in Italy, announced the Italian prosecutor. Regarding drug trafficking, the anti-mafia prosecutor noted that they have strived as Albanian justice institutions have not worked properly for years, while adding that there are clear signs for the need to cooperate. Cannabis trafficking continues to be a concern, despite what the Interior Minister said at today's meeting, where he explained that important initiatives are continuing. The destruction of cannabis plantations and also the creation of the task force are of great importance. We will continue to collaborate with all those targeting the destruction of mafia organisations, confirmed the Italian anti-mafia prosecutor. Interior Minister Fatmir Jafaj appealed to the opposition to support vetting of the state police, while saying that criticisms will soon disappear to pave way for a police force of European standard. We will disconnect politicians' ties with crime, confirmed Fatmir Jafaj. However, opposition leader Lulzim Basha attacked Mr Jafaj, saying that vetting cannot be conducted by this government, as they have been the ones installing the connections with crime. You were put in your posts in order to protect the gangs and criminals, like Tahiri, accused Lulzim Basha. The Democratic Party chair also made reference to Jafaj's brother, emphasising that he was sentenced for narcotics trafficking. Basha said that if the vetting is to be effective, the Minister of Interior must also be included to be vetted under the law. However, Jafaj confirmed that vetting of politicians will occur later, following the establishment of the Special Prosecution Office and the National Bureau of Investigation. Be patient, the Special Prosecution Office and the National Bureau of Investigation will vet us politicians, explained Fatmir Jafaj. Basha replied, I'm open to any investigation. Former Prime Minister Sali Berisha and the chairman of the Socialist Party's parliamentary group, Taulond Bala, also joined the debate. Bala also made accusations against the opposition leader, declaring that he is under investigation for funding the Democratic Party with illegal money. Although nothing has yet been officially released, the media has learnt the names of the negotiating team that Minister Bushati proposed to President Ilir Meta. Based on this list, it turns out that there will be two co-chairs of the group, Armand Scarpi from the Ministry for Europe and Foreign Affairs and Major General Ulber Dojani, commander of the Naval Fleet. Also included on the list are Arsen Mulai, Victor Doda and Deputy Director of State Police Aida Haina, Director of the National Agency for Natural Resources Ardian Buluku, and Artu Mecholari, who was removed from the army in 2012. It was that final inclusion that caused a negative reaction from the former Prime Minister Sali Berisha. Mr Berisha accused Minister Bushati and Prime Minister Rama of negligence for having assigned to a the negotiating group a man like Metrolari. The former Prime Minister claims the man was removed from duty charged with espionage under the accusation he was working with foreign secret services. Artur Metrolari is a spy of foreign services, Berisha has exclaimed. Ora News was interested in the reaction by the Ministry of Defence on these charges. The ministry records confirm that Metrolari was removed from the military under the order signed by former Minister Arben Imami. Metrolari successfully appealed this decision to the First Instant Court in Tirana in 2013. The ministry also confirmed that his security certificate was not retracted and has remained valid even after his departure from the army. This fact was also confirmed by NATO, who are likely to be the first to act in an instance where there is an actual evidence of espionage. In addition to these facts, it has also been confirmed that Metrolari continued to be an advisor to NATO forces to the NATO forces commander of Afghanistan, John Nicholson, until 2017. Ora News also appealed to Artur Metrolari for a response on the matter. However, he declined to comment. The head of the Albanian state expressed his conviction that Albania's efforts to meet the criteria will convince EU member countries to give the green light for opening negotiations. President Meta met with the President of the European Commission, Jean-Claude Juncker, and Commissioner Johannes Hahn, to whom he addressed the fact that the country's integration is supported by all political forces. All parliamentary political forces share the same major goal, that is, for Albania's full integration into the EU and the desire to open negotiations as soon as possible. Thanks to the joint efforts between Albania and the European Commission, member countries will be persuaded to open Albania's membership negotiations during the Bulgarian presidency during this 6-month period, asserted Meta. President Meta assessed that the results will increase credibility both to Albanian citizens and to EU member states. Meanwhile, focusing on developments across the Western Balkan countries, President Meta appealed for visa liberalisation to be provided to Kosovo. I encourage the abolition of the visa regimes for the citizens of Kosovo as soon as possible, with the belief that the demarcation agreement between Kosovo and Montenegro will be concluded soon, added Meta. President Meta concluded by sharing the conviction that Albania has an important role in strengthening and stabilising the region. The Democratic Party chair Lulzim Basha held a meeting with the Enlargement Commissioner Johannes Hahn. The opposition leader expressed the opposition's full support for opening accession negotiations with the European Union. In the announcement distributed by the DP press office, it is stated that the opposition leader urged the Commissioner to influence a positive recommendation from the Commission. Despite the problems of mismanagement in the government of our country, Albanians aspire to be part of the European Union and have embraced its values, confirmed Basha. The Democratic Party chair stressed that the opposition believes that the opening of negotiations will provide a strong and independent mechanism for monitoring the level of democracy, respect for human rights and the quality of governance in Albania. Basha assured Commissioner Hahn of continued engagement from the opposition in the fight against corruption and crime, and for the constitutional and impartial implementation of justice reform, as well as meeting other criteria for opening negotiations. At the meeting with the Commissioner Hahn, the Democratic Party chair stressed that the opposition is aware that EU member countries seek evidence and concrete results, that the Democratic Party will play an important role in achieving them. The Greek media have followed the visit of the European Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker in Tirana with great interest. Most important media companies, both in print and online in the country, have repeated Juncker and Prime Minister Rama's statements given at the press conference. They report in particular on that which was mentioned about Albania's relations with Greece, which were made following questions by an Ora News journalist. The official news agency, ANA MPA, titles its correspondence, Juncker encourages Albania to solve all their problems in relations with Greece. Although Juncker was not direct in answering the journalist's question, the agency emphasised the statement by the President of the European Commission. Juncker declared that the European Union should use the opening of negotiations to encourage the countries of the region to solve problems and avoid them transforming into conflicts. Prime Minister Rama expressed his optimism that President Ilir Meta will give the go-ahead to provide full authorization to the Foreign Minister to finalise negotiations on the maritime agreement. A number of other media portals and newspapers wrote similar statements for relations between Athens and Tirana in their headlines, whereas some chose to quote Juncker as saying Albania needs to continue the reforms, or Juncker to Rama, we're on your side. Much of the local television coverage was more focused on President Juncker's message regarding Albania's European perspective. On Wednesday, the Assembly of Kosovo is expected to fulfil the so-called last condition for the visa liberalisation process with European Union countries by approving the demarcation agreement with Montenegro. Kosovo's cabinet is convinced that this is an important step to end debates and internal disagreements, as well as meet the ongoing demands of the international community. This conviction was provided on behalf of Ramush Haradinaj by the Chief of the Cabinet to the Prime Minister of Kosovo during an interview with Ora News from Shkodra. The new agreement, which according to Kosovo officials corrects the mistakes of the previous pact, was reached a few weeks ago between President of Kosovo, Hashim Thaci, and his Montenegrin counterpart, Filip Vujanovic. The political parties in Pristina seem to have now reached an agreement to approve it. Mistakes have been corrected, declared the Chief of the Cabinet. Ratification of the demarcation agreement between Kosovo and Montenegro would pave the way for important processes on the Euro integration path for Pristina. That's the news across the country today. Thank you for watching our English edition this evening, and be sure to join me again every Monday to Saturday at 6 p.m. for the latest news from Albania. On behalf of Ora News, thank you and good night.